and no pepper. You can't properly spice your soup. You got the peanut butter, but no jelly. You gotta put that bread to use. You gotta work with what you got. Don't sweat it until you hit the top. Work with what you got. Don't forget it until you hit the spot. Gotta work with what you got. Don't sweat it until you hit the top. Work with what you got. Don't forget it until you hit the spot. Work with what you got. Work with what you got. Work with what you got. Work with what you got till you hit the spot.
Hello, welcome to Next Up Accessories, where we connect your next up and vehicle personalization to make you more money and make happier customers, make you more happier customers, something like that. What is vehicle personalization? That is a proven methodology to present vehicle customization to your customers that will increase your paycheck. It will give your customers the car they want, and it will skyrocket your CSI. You know, our good buddy, Eric Gomez, Subaru sales specialist, says that a successful salesperson in the auto industry makes vehicle personalization touch every part of the dealership. If your accessories sales are currently not touching every part of the dealership, this is a podcast for you. And if you are interested in more information about vehicle personalization, check out our website, insigniagroup.com. If you're an Insignia customer, thank you for your business. Remember to check out our blogs. It's on our website. Lots of best practices there. And make sure you subscribe so you get an email for when we post a new blog. Or just jump on social media and start chatting with us. We love to talk on social media. We want to thank Side Hustle for the use of their song, Work With What You Got. It's appropriate for today's day and age. You can find Side Hustle the Band at sidehustletheband.com. So let's dive into Next Up Accessories. We have a fantastic show today. We have an accomplished accessories director and two special guests from a company that specializes in a product that is a must-have for all car owners and car buyers. So let me welcome in Eric Holmes, Chris Ierardi, and Casey George. Guys, welcome. Introduce yourselves.
You go
Hey,
first,
David.
Eric.
Hey, David. Eric Holmes.
Come on, we did this in rehearsal.
How's it going?
Awesome. Welcome, Eric.
Hello, Chris Ierardi.
Casey George here.
Awesome. Well, let me tell you about these guys. So Casey George, this guy down here, has worked in the automotive industry for over 7 years. Previously, he built a successful accessory program making close to $200K per month in sales. Woohoo! Casey now works as the accessory director at KarMART Automotive Group. So they're very privileged to have you. And get this, Casey wants to lead his team to becoming the top Insignia dealership in the country. So you've got your work cut out for you, because last year our top store did $4.5 million through the system. So I know you can do it. Make it happen. It's all up to you.
Not a problem.
Eric Holmes, that guy, is the North American sales manager for the restyler and dealer direct channel for Eastman Performance Films. He spent 13 years installing window film. I did not know that about you.
Yes, sir.
That's very cool. That is a legit job. And we're going to talk about that because that is not easy work. So that's pretty awesome. He's very passionate about serving his team and winning new customers. And knowing Eric now for about 4 years now, 5 years, it's been a while. Super great guy. Really enjoy working with you out in the field. And then Chris Ierardi, which I butchered your name yesterday. We joked about it all backstage. And so my apologies. It's Ierardi. That's an I in the beginning of his name, not a lowercase L, which, sorry. He is the dealership account manager for the Pacific Northwest territory for Eastman Performance Films. He focuses on growing the window and paint protection film market by helping dealerships install the products, learn how to sell the products. Chris is also pursuing an MBA at Washington State University, graduating in 2021. So that's pretty awesome, Chris. Welcome to the show. So guys, so what I have been teed up in is that Casey, you and Chris are sort of a famous pair. You guys get along great, and probably is a bad thing to have you guys joking around in the showroom. But tell me how you guys know each other.
So Chris and I worked together as, him being my rep and me, having a custom shop and an accessories program. And he was just a fantastic rep for me. Everything that you want in a rep and need in a rep as far as support and guidance and things like that, he provided me. So the relationship's been fantastic over the last, what's it been?
About 4 years, yeah.
Yeah. And so now coming into, my new position and new location and stuff like that, it was a no-brainer to reach out to him and keep the ball rolling.
So Casey, let's start with you and let's talk about your journey in the automotive industry because being an accessory manager is not that common of a position quite yet in the industry. And we're obviously all trying to work to change that. So talk about your path into the automotive industry and how you became an accessory manager.
So it all started, I started in the, auto business, how a lot of people start, which was selling cars. And I did it successfully for about 3 years, but knew that I wanted to kind of grow into a different role. And, the only way to do that is by having success in the position that you're in. Was fortunate that I had a forward-thinking owner who was able to, realize that accessories are, an important aspect of a dealership and its success. So he started the program, and we had started with. There was a different accessories manager who started it before me, and kind of got the ball rolling a little bit. And we had, mild success in the beginning, and I took it over from him about 2 years in because I was really passionate about it, and I fought for it. And when I took it over, we doubled in production.
Nice.
It was one of those things where, you find that position that just clicks, and it became my niche. You can talk about the numbers as far as being able to average, $500 per copy on every new car deal and things like that. That's what, obviously the sales managers and owners care about. But the intangibles are incredible. Which is what I love, why I wanted to stick with it is, that customer interaction, that gaining a customer for life because you offer something that nobody else does. And that's what I loved about it.
Very nice. Now, without mentioning the dealership, because we'll talk about, KarMART, what was the brand that you initially were there? What was that brand?
So it started with Ford, specific. Okay. We were a dual store. We were a Ford and Lincoln store,
okay,
and then grew to a Chevy store as well.
Okay, great. Yeah, two awesome brands when it comes to accessories and portfolios there. So fantastic. All right, Eric and Chris. So let's talk about you guys a little bit. Window film, when I got into this, long time ago, wasn't even talked about. And then comes along, Eric, I think you were part of the initial team that contacted us. And I think we got you through maybe it was Sean Skulski, and then we started working with you all, meaning Insignia and Eastman, and it's been a great partnership. And what I've really liked about it is that you are one of our biggest success stories from an Insignia side of things, like working with a manufacturer, because we had such a similar mentality. I remember that first training we did where we had all your folks come in, we had all of our folks come in, and it was a little bit of a love fest because everybody was like on the same page from get-go. So talk a little bit about your business and talk about a little bit about how you guys approach dealerships in this space that Casey and I are in every day, and so are you. But that's you guys are coming into those dealerships and trying to help them realize the goals for window film. So I'll shut up.
Yeah, I'll take a first stab at that. Window film is definitely a product that's pretty unique in the fact that you can apply it to every single unit on your lot, regardless of year, make, model, trim, whatever vehicle it is. Whether it has privacy glass, you can upgrade the privacy glass. So, one thing that stands out in our industry is, if you've been to SEMA, in years past, and right there in the North Hall, you'll see that there's, tons of window film vendors. And so really how we go about it is a service model. And that's really what separates us from the rest of our competition. It's really how we work with the dealer to help you guys teach consumers about our product, and also make sure the product is getting, installed professionally and looks great. It doesn't affect your CSI score, et cetera. So, we're definitely a very much hands-on manufacturer with our customers, and we feel that's really the big difference maker. Again, like you guys, we try to get involved in all aspects, from helping set up that original, sales presentation on teaching about our products, to teaching a parts manager how to order our products, to teaching the installer how to put on our products. And whether you're doing that in-house or whether you're using a restyler, we definitely support, everything. So if a dealer, doesn't have a desire to do this installation, whatnot, in-house, we have plenty of restyle partners that will do that installation for you as well. So, yeah.
Right. And Chris, what's your sort of go-to philosophy when you're starting to work with a store and a customer like Casey?
I think most of the time it's just education, because a lot of these guys have been in the dealership industry for several years. Every service manager, fixed ops director, accessories manager, and director like Casey, they've grown up in that industry. And until, this is a big focus for Eastman and other brands, it seemed to be something that you just sub out. We don't want to deal with it. Oh, it's, yeah, we'll make $10 on each car or whatever it might be. And you got to go into someone like Casey. And, I remember some of our first conversations with Casey and a couple other folks from his previous role is, they understood that there was money, but they do not understand how to execute this program. You really need to, hold their hand to some degree and educate them, because to them, it was just something that was, we'll create an RO and we'll get it out, and there's a due bill and it's not our problem anymore. But until you really educate them on it, they really don't understand the whole program. And so I would say initially when I walk into a dealership, it's to find out who the correct person is and just to get their ear on the untapped potential that they have. You have a lot full of cars that could be tinted and could have paint protection film on it, whether it be the door edge guards and door cups, or it could be the whole car window tinted. Oh, am I losing you?
You did for a half a second, but you're good. Keep rolling. Yeah. See, I'll use.
No, but yeah, so
and it's all live. Just keep going.
Yeah. So yeah, dealerships are a unique perspective because they have just the car sitting on the lot that can be easily accessorized, and I think that was the most compelling thing to Casey when I first met him, was just the potential he had to grow, because he was already doing a lot of other bolt-on accessories.
Yeah, awesome. So Casey, talk about now KarMART, where you're at, and talk about your accessory process. What are you, being the accessory manager, do you get 100% TO? Are you sitting in the showroom? You know, what's your process?
Yeah. So it's a little unique here because we have 4 dealerships all within walking distance of each other. And we have a very large custom shop as well. And so with that dynamic, I'm everywhere all at once. And so, but yeah, I get contacted every time there's a deal, and I try to touch
for all 4 showrooms.
I do, yeah.
Yes.
And so as long as I'm not, face to face with a customer, I'm rolling over to wherever the deal's going on and getting face to face time with the customer, and giving them a tailored presentation on their new vehicle and what options they have. It can be obviously a little tricky trying to break away and things like that, but we're learning it and getting it down pretty well, and so far we've had some success with it. So.
Now, what brands are the 4 stores for our audience?
So we've got Chrysler Jeep Dodge store, which is kind of our number 1. We've got a Nissan store. We've got a Volkswagen store. And then we've got our it's a Mitsubishi / used car location as well.
And then the custom shop that you have, that focuses in on used customers off the streets. Is it primarily an operation that is enclosed within the 4 stores, or is it a standalone, hey, this is KarMART retail truck stop kind of thing?
Yeah, it's a standalone business. It's RPM Performance is the name of it, so it is separate from KarMART. But KarMART is their biggest customer. So of course, all the new car deals, all the tickets that I create through the system, go there to get the work performed. But they have a massive showroom that they do handle a lot of, just walk-in traffic and stuff like that for used cars and that kind of thing. And they specialize in basically trying to be able to do everything for a customer in one stop.
Yeah, nice. And that it's a great model, that model where a dealership has the wherewithal that they can spin off their own brand. There's been a number of very successful dealership groups that do that and spin that brand off. One of the things, and I'm looking for your perspective, Casey, and the same with Eric and Chris, specific to that spinoff. My experience is that when you're talking to a new, let's say a new dealer, a new general manager who's exploring how to build a real vehicle personalization business within their business, that's the natural thing they want to go to immediately, right? And it's like, okay, well, I need to have Stringer Customs then, and we need to have badging, and we need to have our home website, and and it's just all of a sudden, it's like their eyes, it's like going to a buffet. Their eyes are bigger than their stomach. Yeah. And what we always try to do is go, no. Do not go, don't go 0 to 100 in that business. You've got to learn to drive the car before you try to get it on the racetrack. So what's your experience there? Did your previous employer try to do that, or did you guys stay pretty much in the lane of, we're just going to take care of the new car showroom?
Yeah, absolutely. We had to, we had to walk before we ran, and we had, we didn't get to the custom shop until we had proven success. We had
at KarMART or at the previous store?
At the previous.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you did get there. Is that
we did? Absolutely.
Oh, really? Nice.
We did. Yeah. We I was instrumental because of our accessories program and the success that it had. That was what allowed us to build a custom shop. So we had our own standalone custom shop as well, Rad Custom Rides down there, but it was built off of the back of a successful accessories program. And that's what I
wish I could have every GM tune into that little segment right there, because it's so important. You've got to build it from the foundation, because you can't support that. I mean, there are so many, because you're competing with people who have been in the marketplace now for 20 years plus, and they're already a step ahead of you in the technicians and all of that. and then you're trying to just jump into that. It's so important. That's awesome. And then when you moved to KarMART, I think it was called RPM, you said? It was already established. How long had that operation been up and running when you got there?
Well, it was a little unique. So that operation had been running for about 3 years. And so kind of similar where, he had the dealership groups, the 4 stores long before he had the custom shop. And they weren't as involved in the accessories program in the dealerships like previously, which is why they brought me on board to build that. So I'm connecting the two. I'm connecting the dealership and the custom shop and building that bridge and creating that workflow from the dealerships. But when you do that, when you start a custom shop, for all intents and purposes from scratch, without having a successful accessories program, it's just like starting a new business. And whereas previously, if we had an accessories program that was doing really, really well, and then you start a custom shop, you already have a well-established customer base. You're not starting from scratch. And that's always what I recommend. Now, in this situation with KarMART, it takes a huge infusion of cash and initial investment to get that business off the ground. And that's what it took here. And that's not the most successful, initial path, in my opinion, but I'm blessed to have an owner who is not afraid to spend the money. So
yeah, nice. So back to you guys, Eric and Chris, and you were talking about how you start off with a dealership and really helping to understand the opportunity. And so this is somewhat leading because, I know your business very well. Would you agree that like having a custom shop, having technicians who can actually do the work is like the bedrock of both window film and if the dealer wants to do it themselves, right? So they've got to have the technicians there to be able to train, to be able to do it. And it's a full-time job. I mean, you guys help a dealership find and train that full-time, installer so that, you can sustain the business once you start selling it. But the bedrock is that technician.
I would agree. I think before Casey's previous dealership made that transition and built that standalone, we, I think, had put about 2 years of training in with his window tint and paint protection film, because when we first train them, when Eastman first provides that training, they're not putting an output that a guy with 2 or 3 years of experience is. And if you're going to pay for that space in a new building and a new buildup, I mean, you got to have that person being really efficient and really cranking out work. And so he was not in the best situation. If you remember, Casey, he was kind of in the corner of the dealership, as we often get put. But we knew the long-term goal was to be in this new shop. And so I agree with, you kind of have to prove the model and make sure you're profitable before you just build this $1 million structure and now you're supposed to pay for it.
Right.
And that, those two things really go hand in hand, right? Because, you can't teach an installer how to be proficient at putting product on if sales is not selling the product on the car to begin with. So, that's always a catch-22 when you start a new program as a dealer, whether you're selling after the fact or whether you're doing some preloads, however you go about it. If you're training a new installer, you have to provide that work for them so they can get efficient, and I think a lot of people think about, window tint and paint protection film installation where, they really can, put on, some Nerf bars and then go and put on some paint protection film and window film. Totally not the case. It's a very unique skill set. And so that's where that dealer has to have the mindset of, hey, we're not going to offer paint protection and window film as a convenience item, as a customer may request it in. We're looking at this as a profit center, and we want to generate revenue from this. And so we're going to be dedicated to getting that amount, a high level volume amount of work out. So our installers are proficient, and then also in turn, the dealer's making a real profit off of it. And it's not just a, onesie, twosie convenience item. That's very important.
So does that lead you into most of your engagements? You are guiding the store to preload a percentage, if not, I mean, obviously you'd love to have a dealer say all of it, I want every single car. As soon as it hits the lot and hits that pavement, I want the window film on it. I mean, obviously that's ideal for you guys. And quite frankly, it probably is long-term ideal for the dealer. They just probably don't want to go from 0 to 100 like that. So where do you try to find that balance of, hey, this is enough, meaning 20% of your volume, 40% of your cars that are on the lot, do that, and that's enough to sustain your program. Where is that threshold?
Yeah, I mean, I would say most definitely, an installer, we generally need to 80 cars roughly a month to even stay employed at a dealer,
Right.
and I'm talking strictly window film, not talking adding anything else like, paint protection film products, wear and tear packages, etc. And so, that's really where, that threshold is to be able to get to work. So what most of the case happens in this started years and years ago in Texas, Florida, your Sunbelt states where customers really want window film, right? You start selling after the fact, and then you get all these customers and appointments and people want window film. I think at some point the dealer says, you know what, we're not having a problem selling this. Every one of our customers wants it. Just go ahead and start loading the lot, whether it's 50%, 60%, 70%. Let's not deal with the headache of, customers coming back, making appointments. And so generally from a production standpoint, that's sort of what a very successful, I would say, window film program evolves into. Window tinting is pretty much very simple. You pick the quality of film you want. You put that shade on the vehicle. If it's a SUV, tint the 2 front windows. Paint protection, a lot more complexity to that. You have different areas of coverage. And so, there are very successful preload programs out there with paint protection film. But, I think in my experience, I like dealers that sell it after the fact and give consumers an option to purchase more because, we have dealers wrapping full vehicles with PPF, and you would never have sold that high of a package if you're just preloading a wear and tear package, et cetera. So it works both ways.
Right. So, hey, Cameron, look at that. Cameron was reading my mind. Jason Ludwig, thank you very much for this comment. And I'm going to bounce this comment actually back to Casey, and I'm going to talk about salespeople in the showroom. And so being a former salesperson yourself and transitioning and obviously seeing the value, how do you interact with your sales department and sales team to get them on your side? I mean, I think for an accessory manager, it's super important. So how do you do that? And as it relates to this specific comment, I think it's kind of all wound together. It's the same subject.
For sure. Yeah, no, the most important, aspect of that, you have to have your salespeople on your side and bought into, the program and the mindset. And the only way to do that is to, educate them on what the possibilities are, how to use the system, so on and so forth. But then they have to have some sort of, benefit for them, and with us, because the salesperson, they spend hours upon hours with the customer, and their single goal is to sell them a car. And once that box is checked, they check out. There's just no two ways about it. And so to prevent that, they have to have a buy-in. And with accessories, the easiest way to do that is to make sure they're compensated. So we do that first and foremost. That gets them excited. And then it's a matter of making sure that they know it's a benefit to their customer. With us, the biggest thing that I try to harp on after the fact of, hey, you're going to get paid on this stuff is, the customers love it. They love to be able to come down and sit down and, accessorize their car, and it changes the entire buying process for a customer.
Right.
And it turns it into a fun experience for them. But even more so for the salesperson's benefit is that once that customer is bought in and they have an experience at your dealership that they've never had somewhere else, they're going to want to come back or tell their friends about it. And so for us, no question, it increases CSI scores, of course, as long as you do the process properly and make sure follow-up is we have a 72-hour contact rule and things like that. If your follow-up is good and you're getting the work done in a timely manner for the customer, they are through the moon, excited and happy about it. And, it's without a doubt, it's increased repeat and referral business for the dealership and for the salespeople. And so as long as you put in the hard work and make sure that, everything goes smoothly, everybody's happy from start to finish.
Yeah, so now let's take it in reverse, because I think this is the most common question I'm having in today's day and age. I mean, obviously we're sort of on the post curve of the pandemic and the shutdowns. We've got a new normal established out there. We're pushing past it, right? What could possibly be the reason that you would not get into this business at this point in time, or support this business? I mean, what do you see as sort of still the roadblocks in the sales department to really embracing this as you got to do this?
It's a great question. Honestly, the only roadblock that I see is fear, and quite frankly, and that fear comes from a lack of understanding and an unwillingness to put in the work. Honestly, if you're so set in your ways and you've done the same thing for the last 20 plus years, like a lot of dealerships have, they get stuck in their ways and they're not willing to make a change. But in this business, to be successful, you have to constantly be changing. And right now, with the way the car business is, you have to look for every single way to maximize profit on a car deal. And this is without a question the easiest way to add $500, per copy to a car deal. But it's a challenge. It takes work, as does anything. The car business takes work when you initially start out, but you put in that work, and it's really a no-brainer once you've really figured it out. But I think that's really all it comes down to is a fear of change and an unwillingness to put in the hard work.
Yeah, we say all the time. Yes, we say all the time. Look, it is not rocket science. This is not a rocket science business, and it's complicated. And I think that speaks to you got to put in the work. It is a complicated coordination of department to department to department, handoff to handoff to handoff. And certainly you've got to do that well to get the benefits of the CSI and the customer experience. And you got to put in the work on that. Guys, on the Eastman side of things, what are your typical entries in terms of best practices for implementing? Because I sort of once again, a leading question. We work well together, Insignia and Eastman, in the field because we're very complementary to each other. Meaning, if you have a window film program, that probably means you have a growing or an established vehicle personalization program. So you need structure, and you need exactly what we're talking about with Casey here in terms of the process and the structure. What are the best practices that you guys really stand on and really cheer when you're going in and helping a dealership get up and running with these kinds of processes?
Chris, you want to take that one?
Yeah, it's probably more on my level. So, I mean, honestly, echoing what Casey said, I think it's buy-in from all parts of the dealership. I think, when you implement one of these programs, you have the parts department that one is going to inventory the product and mark it up and sell it to the move it over to the service department, where that service manager is going to execute the installation. And then you have to have the accessories buy-in from Casey's to fuel that work. You have to have a GM that believes in preloading some, if not all, and supports the accessories department. I can't tell you how many times I've been in a meeting with 6 or 7 different people, and they're all managers of their own department, and it has to make sense for everybody. It can't just be good for Casey and a car dealership. Of course, it's in his benefit to sell accessories, right? He's the accessories director, but what does that mean for the rest of the dealership? And so I think getting everyone to understand the benefits of the program, again, that education piece, and realize that it's not just Casey's deal. It's going to impact the whole dealership in many different ways, and everyone's going to win if we set this thing up correctly.
Yeah, I mean, going back to Casey's statement about fear, right? Why would you not? And it's fear. And really, that's how we structured our program. We want to eliminate all that fear. We want to take all that responsibility and help you do that. And David, I think same is what your product offers too, right? I mean, we're trying to eliminate the complexity of a dealer adding this, and I think that's extremely important for a dealer to partner with the right vendor, right manufacturer that's going to provide them that support to be able to help execute and sell accessories.
Well, you guys in 2017, Eastman was recognized as the Pro Manufacturer of the Year. Pro being one of the SEMA organizations, councils, the Professional Restyler Organization. So talk about what that meant to you as a company, and what that meant to you in terms of that's real recognition in the restyler business, which sometimes, and we spend a little bit of time on this, I see there's a little rub there between restyler and dealer, right? I mean, dealer needs restyler needs dealer. Dealer doesn't want the restyler taking too much of their business, but then neither does the restyler. So there's an interesting little dance there, and you guys play a role in the middle of that. So talk about, how being recognized by that organization, and then what that means to you guys as a company, and then your perspective on that dance between dealer and restyler.
Yeah, I mean, it's outstanding to be recognized by SEMA Pro, and it kind of gives us some recognition that we've tried to build this program where we are truly more than a box of film, and I think a product itself doesn't win an award. It's the service and the team behind it, and their dedication to making these programs successful and partnering with customers. So, outstanding recognition from SEMA Pro on that. And you're right. I think there's can be a rub between restylers and dealer, and I think not every dealer is cut out for doing installation in house. I mean, every dealer is cut out to sell accessories, no doubt. But whether you want to try and tackle that labor side of it, in house you really need to weigh those things out. And volume is a huge thing. We definitely sit down and try to understand. Hey, if you're going to have the volume to do this, then you can supply. Have an installer and pay them enough money where they're not continually leaving on you, and we're continually being asked to train new installers. We don't want to go down that road. I think the key there is just extremely transparent with our restyle partners, dealers. We've definitely partnered several restylers up with our dealer partners that, hey, if you sell 60 cars a month and you don't want to have an installer, but don't waste an opportunity to accessorize those 60 that you do sell a month. Right. Just because you can't do some of this installation in house doesn't mean you can't have a solid process for how you present accessories and make additional gross on every car that you sell. And again, like Casey said, continue to grow that retention. So we're very much focused on connecting those dots, and I think again, the key word here is transparency. We have to communicate with our partners. It is a very fine line. We definitely don't want to rob Peter to pay Paul, so to speak. I mean, we don't want to take business from our current customers either, and that comes up, oftentimes too. So it can be tricky.
Good, awesome. So Casey, back to you, ping-ponging around the table here. I'm interested in what counsel do you provide? If I'm a salesperson at one of your stores and I really like what you do, I'm pretty good at selling cars, and I still really like what you do. What kind of advice would you give to a salesperson who wanted to kind of follow the path that you're on as being an accessory manager?
That's a very good question. I would tell them to do exactly what I did as a salesperson, and that is, attach yourself to that accessories manager, that accessories director in the store. Be their shadow. Make sure that you are presenting your own accessory presentations whenever possible to your customer, and being as involved with the process as you possibly can. Mm-hmm. Without a doubt, eventually those opportunities open up, whether it be, that person moving on or whatnot. You have to be as prepared as you can to take on that role. And that's what I did, and it proved successful to me. And so I've had those people approach me, and of course I tell people I have the best job at a dealership, period. I just get to talk to customers and trick out cars all day. So and I tell people that multiple times every day. And so of course people see that without a doubt and say, oh man, I love what you do. How do you get a position like that? And the guys that are around me that show interest in it and stuff, of course I'll take them under my wing and make sure that they have all the knowledge and tools to be able to succeed in it. But at the end of the day, you got to take it upon yourself and just do everything you can to make sure you're on deck and prepared to step into that role if an opportunity presents itself.
So what would you consider is your best skill? And what I mean by that is, do you feel that you have to be, your number one, do you have to be an expert at vehicle personalization? Do you have to just be a really good salesperson? Do you have to be a good technician, rank sort of what you think is the most important skills to have? I'm going to put some more context. I think a lot of salespeople are nervous about jumping into that kind of business because maybe I'm not an expert at everything that I have to be an expert at to be an accessory manager.
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself an expert? I guess it would be the first question of that. And then what other skills do you need or put rank up there in terms of being successful?
Great question. Product knowledge, I'll never say is not important, but I would rank that, towards the bottom of my list. It's right. The most successful salespeople I've ever seen, knew nothing about, or very little about what they were selling. It's the most important things for me, and what I pride myself on is just caring about the customer, caring about what it is that they need for their vehicle. If I go in and I'm talking to Mrs. Davis and she just bought a new truck and her and her husband are super excited about it for their family and for their home and that kind of thing, and I key in on what they're planning on using the vehicle for. I'm not going to try to sell them a, lift kit and wheels and tires and, flames on the side of the truck and things like that, because that's not who they are. And if you try to be that kind of person all the time, you're not going to have success.
I did that to my minivan. Is that a problem?
Not at all. Not
okay.
at all. Each their own. And that's the thing. Sometimes you have to get out of your own way and make sure that, you might not like what the customer wants to do, but you got to allow them to make their own mistakes. But no, it's caring about the customer, caring about what their needs and wants are, and following through on that. And that's my number one, job requirement for somebody like me. And then, after that, yes, it's, you do have to have some sales skills, of course. I think somebody coming from a sales background definitely helps. You got to have, follow-up skills and things like that. Those are very, very important. But below that would be where I would rank the product knowledge. Plenty of times I've sold stuff that I knew nothing about.
I think it's a misnomer because I think that folks who are in your role are considered out of the gate, oh, you must be an expert at, tricking out cars. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what keeps a lot of people, I think it also keeps a lot of salespeople from saying, maybe I can offer vehicle personalization or I can offer accessories. My fear is I don't know everything about it. So I don't want to get nailed with a question that I can't answer. And I think what's so important about flipping that on its head is you don't have to know everything. There is a world called the internet that you can find anything and everything that you need to know about what you need to sell. I think you're dead on the money in terms of it's about what the customer is looking for. And quite frankly, they're probably going to come in and say, here, this is what I want. Go. Please. And it's like, all right, well, let me check Insignia. It's in there. Yep, great. It's in there. Great. Here you go. Here's what you wanted. And you didn't have to know anything. You just went off of what the customer said. So
absolutely.
I think it's a big part. Jason knows this very well. Seasoned car professional here, Jason Ludwig, for sure. Been in the business a long time, and it's about the relationship. That's awesome. So guys, turning to sort of the new normal, just a few kind of statements on sort of how you guys have been navigating through this, both as a as a manufacturer and as a company supporting dealerships. And then Casey, if you don't mind, just how did your dealer group manage this process? And kind of what you guys have learned and how you've taken those lessons forward. So Eric, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously COVID's impacted us greatly. I mean, we're still not traveling the way we used to. We're a very hands-on technical business. So we can't teach you how to put film on through this podcast here. So that's definitely impacted us, from a manufacturing standpoint as well. Just like the OEMs right now, they're trying to figure out the new normal with social distancing and building vehicles and changing processes. We're battling some of those same things too, with split shifts in our manufacturing facility and whatnot. Really doing everything we can to prevent the spread of COVID and getting into our manufacturing facilities and remaining open for all of our customers. So that's been a huge focus for us. But yeah, we're things like this podcasts have helped us. Virtual meetings and whatnot have definitely helped, and we've gotten a lot more comfortable with them over the last few months. And so we're spending a lot of time focusing on our program. Sort of we like to use the term review and adjust. And so we're trying to be the best that we can be out there and make sure that we're supporting, customers like Casey and KarMART and doing everything we can to help you all build your business. So,
well, it doesn't escape me that you know how to command. You've clearly learned the techniques of commanding your background, because I'm having to sit there and look at that stupid Cowboys, because I'm what are they called now? The Washington Football League? I don't know what they're called. But I'm a Washington fan, and I've always been a Washington fan, and now a Panthers fan. So yeah.
So you're not liking my background there.
All right, Cowboys back.
That's right. Me and Chris got the most recent championship. I'm just saying.
Oh
yeah,
that's true.
Newly a Seahawks fan here.
Awesome. Well, Casey, how have you guys navigated through all of this?
Yeah, I won't lie and say it hasn't been a challenge. It no doubt has been. What I've noticed, the biggest challenge being as of now is parts availability because of the manufacturers and whatnot. So we've had to kind of readjust a little bit and make sure that we're open and honest with the customers at all times, and just let them know that timelines might be a little bit stretched out because of it takes a little bit longer to get things and things like that. But we're fortunate that people are understanding as long as you're open and you communicate with them on a regular basis and things like that. So from a sales standpoint and things like that, it really hasn't affected us greatly. It just kind of the follow through and follow up and stuff like that is we've needed to be a little bit more stringent and dedicated to communication, so that way there's no misunderstandings of timelines and things like that. But that's about it.
Well, I've heard that as a common theme throughout these podcasts that we've been doing and the live shows, is that the customer sentiment out there that you're open, you're available, you are, you're doing everything that you can possibly do to keep the end customer safe. It sort of has made, what I'm hearing is it's made the customers a little more, genteel, and it's a little less edgy. They don't come in with a big giant chip on their shoulder, and I maybe that's a benefit. I don't know. It certainly is good to hear that people are being nice in the situation, which none of us can really control. So
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, guys, we are right smack dab in that beautiful target zone that we were going for. I'll give each of you, a couple of seconds, if you don't mind, just kind of recap, what do you guys see as the sort of walking forward, future forward for Eastman, first, and then Casey in your business? What do you guys see, as sort of the next horizons that we got to sort of get through this?
Get through in terms of what, David? What are you talking about? Getting through COVID or
just finishing out this damn 2020 year?
Yeah,
I mean, I think everybody's like, God Almighty, is it not December yet? I mean, when are we going to get out of 2020? So, what are you guys focused on to sort of end the year as positively as you can, making the best of the last quarter that we've got, half a quarter and a half, still to go?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's key. Chris will tell you we're very much focused on staying positive, staying aggressive, and really focusing on what we need to do, to continue to evolve our program. And so, we're Performance Films. We're working on a lot of exciting things. We've got a new cutting software we're working on right now, which is going to be, we're real excited about it. I mean, we're going to look to integrate some things that we haven't had in the past with specifically to dealers and restylers. So, we have a huge focus on the software. Patterning for paint protection film is not an easy task at all. I mean, it's not, you can't just put an ad in Indeed and find someone who can make paint protection film patterns. So very specialized. And we've had a massive initiative going on there for, I think we started making our own patterns 3.5 roughly years ago. And over the last year, we've had a tremendous amount of people focused on that. So, we're going to continue to do everything we can, stay safe, stay healthy, stay positive, and get through this year and maybe watch some football here soon.
Yes.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, this time at home has allowed Eric and I to step back and look at a lot of different things with my team members and see where we can be better. I mean, with us traveling so often and in the field constantly, a lot of times you don't have that time to look at your point of sale material and look at your processes and how can we help the dealership more. I know Eric's working on a couple things where we're going to add more value to the dealership. And so I think, obviously this thing has impacted us negatively in a whole lot of ways, but I think there are certainly some positives that have come out of it. And I think that's kind of our thing, is looking at 2021 and implementing a lot of these things that we were able to work through that we might not have been able to have this whole situation not happen.
Yeah, I will kind of append on that one, because we're sort of in that camp. We were able to really step back, really improve some internal processes. Our development team and the stuff that we're cranking out on our configurator team is just out of this world. And so it's funny, we're all working from home for the most part, and we see that the productivity has gone through the roof. And so it's from a software perspective, our group, it's really been cool to see. So, Casey, what are you guys talking about there at the dealership, and what are you focused on for the next, couple of months to round out the year?
Well, for me, I mean, obviously I'm in a new position here, so we're focused on growth. As this may sound corny, but we're focused. My goal is to kind of just exemplify the American spirit. We've got this challenge ahead of us, and everything that we're dealing with, but we're not going to use anything as an excuse. We're focusing on the positives. I've got that $4.5 million figure in my targets, and I'm going to get everybody here at KarMART and over at RPM on board and on the same page. And we're striving to build the biggest accessories program in the country.
That is awesome, and we want to help you do that. So we are thankful to be your partner in making that happen. So, well, guys, thank you very much. I think this has been a great show. A lot of very good information. Casey, you're a wealth of information. Really being in the business exactly where we want vehicle personalization to be as a part of the dealership organization and ecosystem. So, thank you for what you do. Thank you for helping your customers the way that you do, and being a champion of our industry. So I really appreciate you guys being on here. I want to thank our listeners. We had a nice audience that followed us along today. Our podcast listeners, if you want to join the conversation, please continue to make comments. Oh, what was that? Thanks for joining us. Yes. I'll leave it right there. So thank you, Jason, for your thanks. And so, please continue to comment in the. We do our best to continue to respond to the comments in the live cast. If you are listening to this podcast on our audio channels, thank you very much. Please share our podcast, if you don't mind, with other salespeople that are in your dealership who may be interested in vehicle personalization and a way to grow as a salesperson and what they do for their customers. So until next time, I am David Stringer. This has been Next Up Accessories, where we help connect your next up to vehicle personalization. And we really appreciate you tuning in. So stay positive out there. Every deal, every day. Thanks. And we'll see you next. Thank you, Cameron. September 16th, 1 o'clock. We'll be right back here on Facebook. So tune in, share and like. And we really appreciate everybody out there. Stay safe. And we'll see you in 2 weeks.